Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Juricich, and last night's game didn't bother me a bit.
I'm Mark Naismith, and we'll take a look at the Seattle game. Boy, did the 49ers get their parade rained on.
And I'm Jerry Walker, and we're also going to look ahead to next week's game with the Arizona Cardinals.
And as you can tell, we brought back our pal Terrell Jones to try to make some sense of this, and we also brought in Joe Hession, who wrote the 50-year history book of the 49ers, and we're probably going to want to relive some of that to ease the pain. All that and not a darn thing more right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you by
Bay 101 Casino, located at 1801 Bering Drive in San Jose. They can be reached at 408-451-8888 or on the web at bay101.com. Since 1994, Bay 101 Casino.
Badges Cafe. Badges Cafe is located in the heart of Mountain View at 2423 Old Middlefield Way. You can reach Badges Cafe at 650-967-7477 or on the web at www.badges.com. Go Niners! College Plaza Shell. College Plaza Shell located at 1400 West Hillsdale Boulevard in San Mateo, providing automotive service since 1987. You can reach College Plaza Shell at 650-573-7959. That's 650-573-7959.
Psst. Hey, need some video work done? We can do that. We do all that video stuff. We can even put your video on that internet thingy. At Peninsula TV, we do full-blown in-studio production. Talk shows, performances, speeches, anything. Remote multi-camera production, on location, at your event. And for the budget-minded, single camcorder production in high definition. We'll take your video project from first idea to finished product. For more info, contact Peninsula TV.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. What the hell am I laughing at? All right, no panic, is there, Joe?
After last night's game?
Yeah.
I was a little worried about it at the end. The defense was, without Justin Smith, looked a little shaky.
Yeah.
Special teams was a worry for me. So, yeah, I'm a little worried right now.
You know, Dub, you and I argued during the offseason. I said they were going to go undefeated and win. You kept saying, don't say that stuff. Play the season. I was so confident that they were going to go to the Super Bowl. And then the Ram game in St. Louis happened, and I went, you know, yeah, I think that. Then they played well in New England, and then after last night, I have serious doubts.
They are still a Super Bowl contender, so
Okay,
ease,
all right.
ease your doubts.
Okay, thanks.
They're,
I'm off
they're
the
still
ledge.
one of the best 6 teams in the league.
Okay.
In the NFC, and they are in the playoffs, but they got to play better than they did last night.
Yeah. But see, according to what he said, he's not realizing that I think they dropped from 1 to 6. That's 6 spots they went, right?
No, they dropped from 1 to 4 now.
Okay, 1 to 4. Okay, all right. We're getting there. We're
So
getting there.
you play for home field advantage.
Yeah.
You play for the top seed.
Yeah.
But how many top seeds have won the Super Bowl the last 10 or 11 years?
Okay.
2 maybe?
The Giants were what, the number 4 seed, 5 seed last year?
9 and 7, the 2 years that they won it.
I think
Exactly.
the Patriots and the Saints are the only top seeds in the last 11 seasons, last 12 seasons to win the Super Bowl.
Mark, is it bloody obvious that we've tried to avoid this talking about the Seattle game and talking about seedings and ratings? I'll throw this at you.
I think as Buzz Lightyear said to Woody in Toy Story, this is a perfect time to panic. It's,
and how does he know that?
I watched
He watched it again last
It's one
night.
of my favorite movies.
The game was over.
Look at how MBA, a master's degree, and this guy's watching Toy Story.
In Toy Story pajamas, he's watching it too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
Probably better than the
You're
game.
my hero.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I think what concerns people, and it should, is just kind of the downward trajectory in the last couple of games. I mean, great win in New England, but still give up 4 touchdowns in a row. Defense is tired, and last night there was a lot of excuses, but they didn't show up, and they got taken to the woodshed by a very good team who's on a very upward trajectory.
Right.
6 of their last 7 games, 150 points in the last 3 games. You know, Just
Joe,
got to
you're
see if they
the
can buckle it up.
historian here. There was a game the 49ers played in New York where the opening pass of the game, and Jerry, I think you were the PR director at the time, to Jerry Rice, and he fumbles it going in for a touchdown, and then New York beat us 49-3. And I said at the time, if he scores on that first play, that's the difference in people say, come on, they kicked our rear ends, blah, blah, blah.
No, you're absolutely right. Last night, the 49ers had a chance to
play,
score. Yeah.
First play.
And that would have set the tone for the Niners. Instead, Seattle gets on the board first. Very similar to what happened against the New York Giants with Joe Montana at the helm many years ago. But, yeah, there's very similar, parallels there. And I think if the 49ers scored last night first, it would have been a completely different game.
He speaks like a historian.
Yeah, right.
The only difference is that 49-3 loss. The 49ers had, I think, 13 starters out with injuries that game.
Oh, did they really? In the 49-3 loss?
Yeah.
No, I had forgotten that. Well, see, that's why you're here. We bring you on board for that sort of stuff. If one play can make a change in a game, are you telling me that Justin Smith can make that much difference, one guy being out on a defense?
I think so. I mean,
really?
Yeah. I mean, you look at it because Alden, looks like he played like he was Batman without Robin.
Okay. Talking about Alden Smith.
Right, Alden Smith.
Okay.
So Justin wasn't there, and Justin, he takes up 2 gaps, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Alden, he can be an okay,
Run stopper.
Yeah. But when you don't have Justin there, you see that whole tone. It's different.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, I don't think you realize how important he was until last night when he's not there.
Right.
Because when he takes up 2 men there in the line of scrimmage, it frees up the linebackers to do their thing, and we've got 2 of the best linebackers in the league.
3.
Well, 3.
Yeah, 3.
But yeah, when he's taking up all that space in the middle, then the linebackers can do their thing, and Alden Smith can do his, and it really sets the tone for how things are going to go down the line.
Well, just the last 6 quarters, 34 points and 42. That's
a lot.
To carry the 9. That's a lot of points that we've given up in 6 quarters. I think the team looks tired. I think New England took a lot out of them. What is that, a 6.5, 7-hour plane ride back from Boston? They don't get in until Monday morning at 8 o'clock. You're laughing at me.
I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
Okay.
No. Everybody goes through that.
Should I pick another topic?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
Here's to me, you know what they lost last night? Composure.
Okay. All right.
That's a tough place to play.
But still.
That's the noisiest place in the league.
But look at the composure. Okay, on the punt return, you get a penalty there. Who was it? Davis in the end zone.
That was
gets
stupid.
a penalty.
That's a 15-yard stupid penalty.
You had punches being thrown, so they lost their composure. If you're getting beat that bad, suck it up. Say, okay, we've got next week. We got the playoffs. Think about that.
Okay. Let me throw this out at you. There were shots of Colin Kaepernick. He looked not scared. He looked bewildered to me. It was like, oh my God, I didn't sign on for this.
I think it was more frustration than bewilderment. But
do you think so? Okay.
Well, I also thought Seattle played a wonderfully good game defensively. It was clear what they were going to do. They had 7 or 8 guys within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage, virtually on every play, saying, we're going to stop Frank Gore, and we're going to come after you and make you make a play. And I think that's what you do to young quarterbacks.
That's a good point.
He had a tough time last night because they were after him the whole game, and I think he was a little panicky, but he's still young, and I think he's very good.
But you brought up a good point. Gore only rushed for 28 yards last night.
Well, he only had 6 carries, right?
Still.
6 carries, 5 carries.
But they couldn't establish the run.
his 28 yards, one was like 15, one of his carries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's always had great stats against Seattle.
Exactly.
But if you had like a blurry television or something and not good reception, it looked like reversed. When Seattle was on defense, you would think those were the Niners on defense.
Yeah.
Their defense played like the Niners defense last night.
Right.
Does it count if you drank something that made it look blurry? Or
Absolutely.
Are you talking about the second half?
Yeah, the second half. The historian, I'm going to ask you this. Why in the hell didn't Harbaugh draft Doug Baldwin or Richard Sherman?
That's a good question.
How much scouting do you have to do?
But
you guys with me every day.
You remember, Baldwin was a free agent, and he had his choice to go where he wanted to.
Was Richard Sherman drafted, or was he a free agent?
Fifth round.
Fifth round. So 4 rounds we passed him, probably 5.
Right.
We didn't take him. It'd be interesting to go back and see who we took instead. But as you look to those 2 guys, and one last thing, we only got about 30 seconds. There's a story going around that says that Jim Harbaugh, when they beat Seattle here, drove by the Seattle bus, tooted his horn, and gave him a mock salute. I cannot believe that. I don't believe this guy would do that.
There's some stories going around about Terrell, too, now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Has anybody in 49 history ever done anything like that?
50% of them are true.
We're going to look into that.
Okay.
I think it's a good
We'll look into
story.
that. We're going to talk 49er history when we come back right here on Hooked on the Niners. This better be good, Joe.
Brought to you in part by Parati and Karad, CPAs, providing income tax and accounting services to individuals and the business community since 1986. Located at 1100 Larkspur Landing Circle in Larkspur. They can be reached at 415-461-8500 or on the web at www.pccpas.com. Let's go Niners. Woodmont Real Estate Services, a friend to the community since 1963. Woodmont Real Estate Services is located at 1050 Ralston Avenue in Belmont, California, and can be reached at 650-592-3960 or at www.wres.com. Vivace Ristorante. Vivace Ristorante is located in the heart of Belmont at 1910 Ralston Avenue. They can be reached at 650-637-0611. That's 650-637-0611 or on the web at www.vivacerestaurant.com. Gando Design. For 25 years, Gando Design is located in Redwood City. Their website is gandodesign.com/specials. Gando Design, a proud sponsor of Hooked on the Niners. Peninsula TV is now live streamed on the internet. Watch us from anywhere you have an internet connection, on cable, on the net, and on that fancy mobile device. Just go to pentv.tv.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. We're going to talk a little Niner history with Joe Hession, who wrote the book, The 50-Year History of the 49ers. We should point out that Joe is also the golf coach at Uniprasara High School. We had some of the football guys here last week. Real
right,
nice
yes.
bunch of kids, and I guess they missed your class, right?
Yeah, a couple of them left my class. I didn't even know where they were going. They said they were coming on a TV show. It wasn't until later I realized they were here.
Yeah, well, it's really not a TV show. They were here, though. All right. Now,
They didn't miss anything in class anyway, so don't worry about it.
They were good here, though. They got A's. Now, you've relied on Joe and his book for what you're doing now with the 49ers.
His book is our Bible.
Really?
I'm the old guy on the staff, on the committee.
You're the oldest guy in the Western Hemisphere, aren't you? Okay.
Let's ask Terrell.
Yeah. Well, your tan from Hawaii took.
Thanks, and I got no tan lines either, according to Terrell. No tan lines.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
Do we want to get into that?
Hey, I said he went for body wax. I didn't talk about his tan line, so.
That was the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, we use his book as the Bible for the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and then I pipe in on the 80s, and we all kind of know the 90s and today.
Yeah.
But his book is excellent, and we're trying to talk him into doing some work for us for the Hall of Fame Museum.
So did he bring us free copies?
He didn't bring free copies, but he did bring some pictures, and we'll cue those up now. And I mean, this is just a walk down memory lane. The first one is Norm Stanley, who was one of the originals.
Yeah, that's Norm Stanley. Norm was out of Stanford, really, one of the first members of the first team, 1946, when the 49ers won the All-American Football Conference. And in that picture there, he looks like the old Lou Gehrig shot where he's...
Yeah.
But,
Who's it in the background?
I'm not quite... Oh, that's Joe Perry in the background.
Sure
yeah.
Yeah. He was number 34. That's an odd-looking 3. It almost looks like a 7.
Actually,
Part of Stanley's shoulder.
I think he was wearing 74 for a while.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Now, see, you learned something. There you go.
How about that?
Now, how about the next one? This is the guy, Hugh McElhaney, that got me.
That's scary.
Got me.
Changed over the years.
Yeah.
Looks young.
Hugh McElhaney.
Very young.
Hugh McElhaney was the guy that got me hooked on the Niners. I just couldn't take my eyes off of this guy. I saw him at a preseason game many, many, many years ago in the 50s. He ran 96 yards from scrimmage, and he didn't score.
Yeah.
He ran from the 2 to the 2.
Good story about Hugh
Yeah,
McElhaney.
and it took an hour.
When
Like
he came
Russell
in
Wilson last night.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
stop that. We're finished with that
Yeah,
segment.
it wasn't just one straight run. With Hugh McElhaney, there was a lot of zigzagging, and so a 30-yard run might be 90 yards. But
Yeah.
they say when he came out of the University of Washington to sign with the 49ers, he had to take a pay cut.
Yeah, I'm sure
But he was
that he did.
part of the $1 million backfield with Y.A. Tittle, Joe Perry,
John Henry
Johnson.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why they called it the $1 million backfield, because they together didn't make $1 million
No,
back then.
they probably made 50,000.
Yeah, a piece.
You know, if that, maybe 50,000. All right, the next one is Leo Nomalini. Now, this is the reason I'm hooked on wrestling, is Leo Nomalini, and that's one of the few sports I bet on is professional wrestling. I like to bet on sure things. But, I mean, in those days, Joe, you had to do something else to make a living. We joked about that the $1 million backfield didn't make that.
Right.
You had to have another job.
Yeah, a lot of those guys were car salesmen, Joe Vitrano, and a lot of the original guys. They were car salesmen, insurance guys, and so
A lot of guys worked at the breweries. There used to be a lot of breweries in
Ham's
San Francisco.
Brewery and Lucky, and
Oh, I'm getting thirsty.
Teachers.
Yeah.
Coaches.
Yeah, coaches. Yeah.
Teachers? Yeah, right, exactly.
But Nomalini, I mean, he played both ways. Then he wrestled in the off season. I mean, if you remember, if you ever saw him around, his fingers and knuckles went everywhere. You know, they were crushed up and bent up, but he was a pretty tough nut.
There was an old story about that. He went to a local sports writer and said, "How come you never put results in the paper of the wrestling matches?" And the guy said, "Well, your matches aren't over until late. We can't get them in on time." So the next week he came and he put a piece of paper on the desk and he says, "What's that?" He goes, "Tonight's results."
That's good.
That's kind of urban. Yeah, but all right, our next picture up there is of a guy from Texas Tech. I believe it was in '63. The Niners had the first pick in the draft, and I was looking for somebody from Notre Dame or Ohio State or something like that, and the 49ers took Dave Parks, and I kind of said, "What was that?" They took Dave Parks, and this guy was great.
Parks.
This is the guy that got me hooked on the draft.
Yeah.
So I got hooked on the Niners, hooked on wrestling, hooked on. Yeah, he was a great player.
John Brody to Dave Parks.
Yeah.
And he led the league in receiving one year. I believe it was 65.
Yep.
And that's when John Brody was at his finest. Another guy who really never got his due. John Brody, in my opinion, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, absolutely.
But Dave Parks, yeah, definitely was a class receiver, one of the best in the league
He
at
run
that
too,
time.
right? He
Yeah.
really could run.
He spent some time in New Orleans, too.
Yeah, he did. He did spend some time there.
Played well there, too.
Absolutely, and he, as one guy that received the ball. How about this next picture we have is another guy that was a receiver, I believe at San Jose State, was he?
Yep, yes, he was.
And that's little Willie Walsh right there. Boy, that's a long time ago. You know, the hair's starting to go already, and he hadn't even accepted a coaching job or worked with Jerry Walker yet. So
That's when I turned gray.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
We practice this, you know.
Right, exactly.
That picture is from before he even got in the NFL. He coached for a team down in San Jose, a minor league team called the San Jose Apaches, and that's where he was the head coach of the team. That was about 65 or 66 before he made it into the NFL.
Which, by the way, he didn't like to talk about much.
Didn't like to talk about what?
About the Apaches' time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why?
People would ask him about it. Yeah, that was before NFL and coaching at Stanford.
Kind of like subservient.
like,
didn't
I
want
don't
to talk
know.
about that.
Yeah.
The team only lasted a year or two and then folded up, but and I think that whole league only lasted a couple years. So, but you know, obviously he went on to bigger things after the time with the Apaches there.
Now, you know, most people think in you being the historian now or archivist, sorry, but same thing. You know, you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers as teams that are just steeped in tradition and history and all that, the New York Giants and all that business. But the Niners have a lot of history, a lot of tradition, a lot of heritage. I mean, it's a storied franchise.
It definitely is.
Do we have more Hall of Famers than anybody?
No.
No.
Okay,
Some
who
of
does?
Bears have the most.
Do they have the most?
All the teams that have been around for Bears, Packers, Steelers.
Well, it's fixed
Hooked on
back then. What
Niners
do you
are starting.
expect?
What's that?
Hooked on the Niners, the story.
There is, right there. No, he's the pass rush. Just leave him alone. Yeah. But it is a great franchise to kind of study.
It is, and with the Hall of Fame Museum opening in 2014, we have our own Hall of Fame.
Right.
Edward J. DeBartolo Senior Hall of Fame, and you're gonna learn some history there.
Now, if somebody,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, and if somebody has something that they want to donate to that, what do they do?
You're talking.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
What do they do?
Well, they can email me, Jerry.Walker at 49ers.com.
Jerry.Walker at 49ers.com.
Correct.
Okay.
Or they can call. They can contact Hooked on the Niners, huh?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely, they can do that.
Our webpage?
Yeah, absolutely, at hookedontheniners.com. And he said that you might get involved with some of this stuff?
Yeah, I've been down to visit the new facility down there, and it looks like what's going to be about 20,000 square feet. Wow. It's fantastic. It's going to be an interactive part of the museum there where kids can do things with technology. I'm more concentrating on the getting the artifacts and looking at the written part of the history. But
we've only got about a minute left. What constitutes history? I mean, where's the line of, what is it, demarcation? I don't know. I mean, is 1990... Is that history?
Sure.
I mean, anything in the past is history. Sure. I get that, but
this show is history.
Yeah,
Thank goodness it is.
After this segment, it's going to be
this segment, it is history.
Joe said the
Seattle Games history. That's it. Everything's history now.
Where would this show rate in all the 49er shows that have ever been on television?
This is the #1 show of all time for the 49ers.
Oh, stop kissing up. I'm still going to send you a certificate to Vivace. Come on.
We're thinking of some video in the restrooms in a museum.
Yeah? This show?
Maybe.
Yeah, this will make this will make you go. There's no quickly about that. All right, we come back. We're going to preview the Arizona game and tell you why the 49ers are going to win their division, and aren't they?
They better.
Okay, and move on and just go right through the play. I don't know if they will. We'll come back right here on HookedOnTheNiners.com.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you in part by Old County Custom Framing, located at 1339 Old County Road in Belmont. You can reach Old County Custom Framing at 650-596-2767. That's 650-596-2767. Go Niners! California Catering Company of San Mateo, proudly serving our community at 233 West 20th Avenue in San Mateo. California Catering can be reached at 650-345-4811, extension 1. The San Mateo Credit Union, serving San Mateo County for over 60 years. They can be reached at 650-363-1725. That's 650-363-1725. Or on the web at www.smcu.org. San Mateo Credit Union.
Hey guys, Will Durst here for my good friends, acquaintances at Penn TV, the place for what's happening in San Mateo County, and lots more too. Visit Penn TV on your local cable TV provider, or live on the web at www.penntv.tv. Hey, they do good stuff.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. We're just discussing how many Niners are in the Hall of Fame and who was there for the Super Bowl years. And Mark brought up that of 5 Super Bowl teams, we only have 5 guys in the Hall of Fame: Montana, Young, Lott, Rice, and Fred Dean, who just got in recently. So for a long time, it was only 4 49ers in the Hall of Fame. So I'm sure all those guys will be represented in your hall down there, plus many, many, many more.
We have 24 members of the DeBartolo Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And DeBartolo 49ers Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And all those that you mentioned, plus more. Plus, back to Canton, though, Mr. DeBartolo, Eddie Jr., is a possibility, future Hall of Famer.
Sure.
Yep.
Roger Craig. There's a couple more.
Bryant Young.
Mm-hmm. not from the Super Bowl teams, but Bryant Young.
Bryant
the last Super Bowl, sure.
Jerry, you should know that better than I do.
Deion Sanders. Is
what about a Randy Cross?
Randy's deservable.
Absolutely. He was many times All-Pro. I think All-Pro 2 positions, center and guard. Am I crazy about that?
No, you're
crazy
right.
about that, but yeah.
But this is one thing I don't like about the Hall of Fame voting. It's by the writers. And Randy Cross, a lot of people didn't like him. I don't care if you like him or not. If he's a good player, put him in there.
Don't even start on that sort of stuff. I mean, we can go to the Baseball Hall of Fame and talk Pete Rose and all this other sort of stuff. But anyhow, that goes without saying. All right, Arizona. I watched a fair share of this game this past Sunday. Holy moly. We could probably get a team from Hooked on the Niners here. Well, maybe not with Joe here. I mean, just look at it.
I'm a kicker.
I mean, we would have Terrell Jones, Joe Montana, Mark Lorette.
Terrell Owens.
Oh, man.
That was cold.
That's a slap in the face.
Jerry and the Pacemakers. I don't know.
Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Well, I mean, we got the names. I don't know where the hell I'm going with this. I guess where I'm going with it is that Arizona's not very good.
No.
They're decent defensively, but I think they're the team that really shows you got to have both sides of the ball.
Exactly.
I mean, their defense is just probably like, oh my God, make a first down, will you, so I can drink this water.
When they start making first downs, though, that's going to be a pretty good team.
But what scares me is the last game of the year.
Yep.
These guys are playing for their jobs.
Yep.
So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I just
So don't go in there lightly.
Funnier things have happened.
This is true.
I think some guys have got tee times already made for.
Oh, they already do, but
But
still.
they like to get their tea time with a victory, though. That's
Yeah,
And they're thinking about their paychecks, too.
Yeah. Are you fearful of this game at all?
Well, yeah, when you have a team that has nothing to really lose, they can pull out anything they want. It doesn't really matter. Onside kicks, fake fourth down, punts, and all. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so those are the scary teams, in my opinion.
A bad break here, a bad break there.
Okay,
Exactly.
Time
injuries.
Time out. We're going to time a 30-second. I want the answer that I want. Do we have to worry about this game?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I want to hear no.
You worry about every
No.
You worry about every game.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's
Thank
move
you.
on.
You worry about every game.
Let's move on.
In all our minds, it's a victory.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not going to be a cakewalk.
It's still the NFL. I get all
Definitely.
that
And
sort of stuff.
They're in the same division.
I guess the main thing is now is the injuries. I mean, we saw Mario Manningham go off with what looks like. Thank you. With what looks like
An
ACL.
An ACL. Justin Smith, it's being reported today as we tape this show, may not be able to come back for the playoffs at all. Vernon Davis,
Concussion.
a rumor has it he got on a plane for Vancouver. He went the wrong direction. That's not a nice
wasn't
joke
funny,
about.
no.
That wasn't funny at all, and I apologize for that. That actually was kind of fun. Reminds me, you talk about historian. Do you remember when Jim Marshall picked up the ball and ran the wrong way?
Why do you bring up my Vikings? Why do you have to do that?
Wait a minute. Fran Tarkenton had a good line when they were leaving. He said, "I hope they let Jim Marshall fly the plane. We can spend a week in Hawaii." Let's go the wrong.
All right.
You see that?
They got to win Hawaii.
Okay.
He was a Minnesota Viking, right?
He was, yeah. Actually, funny thing is, my mom went to high school with him in Columbus, Ohio.
Are you kidding
My
me?
mom and my dad both. Yeah, with Jim Marshall.
Columbus, Ohio, home of.
What?
The Ohio
State.
Boy,
Well,
this
I'll
has
tell you,
just
speaking of the
disintegrated here.
Vikings, Terrell's Vikings could do the 49ers a big favor this weekend by knocking off Green Bay and Minneapolis, because if that happens and the Niners do win, they'll get that second seed. If they don't,
And they're going to need
it's going to be a bumpy ride for them because the playoffs are not setting up well for them, and they could wind up back in Lambeau. So let's root for Terrell's Vikings this weekend. Yeah, I'm done.
The team that
I'm done.
The team that gets no respect, Atlanta. Atlanta's a pretty darn good ball team.
Oh, they stink.
Okay.
Well, now they have home field advantage.
Yes.
But again, the Packers are scaring me right now.
They should.
We have 30 seconds left. Do we have enough time to say if this team and this team and this team loses and this team ties and this team doesn't show up, this team is in the... We don't have time to do that, do we?
No, but if Seattle keeps playing the way they're playing, watch out for them.
Okay, we got to go. Joe, thanks for being here. Terrell,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks.
And we'll say Happy New Year to all of you. We won't see you until the new year. And hope your year is filled with with prosperity and many 49er victories. We'll see you next time on Hooked on the Niners. All right. Stumbled through that, but we made it.
I'll take the name of prosperity.